Hi Neha,
Hi, Dhananjay. Good morning.
good morning.
Okay, so I'll just do a quick housekeeping rules and intro kind of thing. Until then, some more people can join in, and then we can kick off. Is that okay?
Sounds good. Yeah,
Okay, awesome. So, hey everyone, please keep yourselves on mute while the speaker is demoing. Video is optional, but note that this call is being recorded. So, if you're uncomfortable with your video being shared, please don't put your video on. Once the AMA begins with Dhananjay, at that time you can raise your hand, and based on the order of who raised first, we will ask the questions. And as always, in all our meetings, please use the emojis at the bottom of the screen to interact with the call and with what everyone is talking about. And yes, we are recording and it'll be shared later with you. It'll also be on our YouTube channel. If there are any presentations, we'll share it after this call. And of course, as you know, this is being hosted by AI Enthusiast Circle. So if you are interested in joining and haven't already, then you can just ping me later. So coming into what AI Enthusiast Circle is about. So we are in a community of individual women. We're from all kinds of backgrounds, tech, non-tech, and the idea is to have a space for us to be able to interact, share knowledge, and sort of upskill and grow ourselves. Because as you know, AI is kind of going to be with us for a while. So coming into our product AMA, the point of this product AMA is twofold, right? So we have, there are a lot of AI products out there. AI is becoming a huge part of our lives. So we want to be able to talk about these products. We want to be able to talk to the creators, the founders, share our feedback so they can better provide these products for women. So the idea is to have these AMAs where you can ask questions, ask challenging questions, but obviously please be respectful as well. But we want the founder to know how they can make better products for women to be taken into account. The second part of the AMAs are obviously if you have women founders who are working on AI products, then we want them to be able to get feedback from the community and help them grow as well. So that's kind of what the product AMA's mission or essence is. It's a very simple structure. It's 10 minutes of a quick intro of the product by the founder. In our case, we have Dhananjay here from NeoSapien. And after that, it's 45 minutes of Ask Anything. Please keep your questions ready. Raise your hand once we reach the AMA. Okay, I think now I've spent a few minutes introing, so we had quite a few people joining in. So I am going to kick off now, Dhananjay. Are you good to start? So if I can intro you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Dhananjay is the co-founder and CEO of NeoSapien. I'm going to let him talk about the product, but he's had 13 years of zero to one product, which I think is really cool. It's like products, from nothing to something, and that takes a lot of work because that initial jump is challenging. So the fact that you've been doing this for 13 years is absolutely amazing. And now I don't know if you guys know, but NeoSapien also got featured on Shark Tank. They got funded through Shark Tank. And we're really excited to hear more about this. And I love the fact that this is an Indian homegrown brand. It's an AI wearable in India, and you don't see that very often. We don't have that many AI startups making it so big, and I'm really excited to have you here. He's worked at Razorpay, Homelane, Zalando, Vodafone Idea, so a lot of background here in building products. And in his free time, he's a marathoner, which is wow. He must be like super fit and healthy. And we're really excited to have you guys here and learn more about your products. So, Dhananjay, over to you, and I will put myself on mute now.
Sounds good. Thanks, Neha. Super excited to speak with everyone over here. Yeah. So I will like to do a quick demo, but before a quick demo, right? What actually got us started to building what we are building? So what we realize is voice is one of the biggest sources of information, which is non-indexed. And if we can index it, we can change life of millions. So that's how the idea came up about, right? Because we as humans have always been evolved to have voice as an interface. And voice currently has become so powerful thanks to AI that now it can basically index, it can take decisions on your behalf. So this was something also another big thing which led to this was that post COVID crisis, right? majority of our interaction moved to digital interactions, because of which our memory retention went down to significant 2%. Also, more interestingly, our emotional intelligence, which people call, right, that went down significantly. So we wanted to create something which helps you recall things and also helps you understanding better as an individual. Because one of the things which we realized during post COVID time was that because of digital interaction, first is people were not able to recall all the conversation because of drop in memory retention. Second was their understanding of their conversation, their self awareness had grown down significantly. So when we research, we did a deep research, everyone came up with the response that in the last 5 years life has been more chaotic than it was last 10 years. So yeah, this is what led to NeoSapien. And yeah, quick introduction about what we are trying to build. We are trying to build the world's first AI native wearable which understands from everything around you. So this is Neo One, what I am wearing right now. You can see, if you can see, this is basically an AI wearable which we have created. Everything is done in-house. So basically the designing part, the LED basically breathes with you when you are talking. We wanted to create something which you can wear like a jewelry, right? Everything else is completely done in house. And what it does is essentially any conversation which I am having, it will understand who I am speaking. So, for example, if I am speaking with Neha, it will start recognizing who Neha is and create a very specific knowledge graph or a relationship between me and Neha on the basis of facts and entities between us. So, not only with Neha, with my co founders, with my family member, it starts understanding everything like a second brain, and then it can recall anything. So if I had to ask what did I speak with Neha last time, it will actually give me a detailed response. Similarly, if I had to ask who all did I meet at Product AMA, at AI Enthusiast Circle, right, it can tell me that these are the individual who ask you questions. But more interestingly, once people have got hooked to our app, what we have realized is that people have started using it more like a companion. So basically, things like, hey, I have broken up with my boyfriend, how could I get better? Or, for example, things like, hey, I have been rough with my kid, how could I get better, right? So essentially, it gives it's like your augmentation, so it gives very detailed responses based on your personality, because it has the most amount of data of yours, right? Because it's always sitting with you, it's always listening, so it understands you better. So let's just compare it to chat gpt, right? Chat gpt, if you see, have launched something like a deep context, but every time for the deep context you had to put the scenario what had happened to get a proper response, and that is your opinion of things, right? Whereas this understands your ground truth and it's always listening, so it will always be non-biased based on your ground truth. So what we wanted to build is something which makes you a better human being at the end of the day, right? So I will like to do a quick demo with our app also to give everyone complete clarity, and then I think we can take few questions also. So I wanted to show you guys, this is our app. Yeah, so basically it understands. So while we wanted to build even the app experience to be completely magical, so when I am speaking with you, it is breaking down into memories. So as you can see, right, it's in active mode, it is breaking down into memories. Ho- After a pause of 20 seconds, when there is a pause of 20 seconds, it breaks into different memories. Or for example, if you are jumping from one meeting to another, you can directly save memory through the UX, or basically you can double tap it over here, right? So it will go into sleep mode and generate a memory. Just giving you an information, right? One of the conversations, the first 8 minutes of conversations was this, right? Women in AI session, right? NeoSapien AI wearable. So it understood everything, right? That we had 10 minutes of intro by the founder, 30 minutes of Q&A. Host emphasize on keeping videos on and being respected during the questions, right? Everything which you have seen, it's so detailed over here, right? The thing which I was even talking, for example, world's first AI native wearable, recognizing who I am speaking to. So it understand everything to the detail. And now, why we wanted to do this is also because 80% of our conversation are impromptu conversation. These are your water cooler conversations while going on walk, while elevator, while going on drives, right? And it so happened these 80% of conversations are the most crucial conversation, which have highest amount of your context, which any other platform doesn't understand, right? Be it chat GPT, you have to give a scenario, so every individual end up using for professional use cases or for other platforms as well. Here you can understand all those conversations to have to understand yourself better, right? So this is something which you have seen. Now I can basically ask a query on top of it, or basically the most magical feature which we have launched this Neo AI, Ask Neo. So you can basically ask it things like, what are green and red flags for me, for example. It can understand you as a person, what is the most relevant things for you, right? Strong execution, transparent adaptability. Red flags are ambiguity, lack of initiatives. So these things are very particular to me. I can also ask it things like, what what are my key priorities with the team, right? So because it understands me like a second brain, it also understands my relationship, so it will also understand who my team is. So those kind of things it can pull, and it can also cite a specific memory. So as you have seen Perplexity, when you put any queries, it has very specific article attached to their knowledge, right? Similarly, we have created one of its kind where now it links specific memories to any response which it gives, right? So here I asked that, what are my key priorities? It understood everything: product execution, hardware, addressing critical user pain points, right? Sales and growth journey, how we are going to upscale the orders, financial and control ops, because it understands everything around me. Now, not only this, but I could also ask it, how can I build a better relationship with my co-founder, RN? And something like, I can also ask it, and please cite instances. This is where people are spending good 3, 4, 5 hours to just understand themselves better, be it in professional and personal life, in terms of relationship building, right? Because now, be it your professional or personal life, relationship building is very important. So things like, how could I create a better relationship with my boss, or basically how could I be better, things like how could I be better partner or better parent, all those kind of things, right? Similarly over here, it understands my relationship with Aryan. It it actually says, here is a personalized playbook to deepen your collaboration with Aryan, right? And it understands that recent memory RN values moving with speed, praising move things fast, right? Focus on execution velocity. He expects clarity, data-led arguments, not just gut, right? Because I am more of a gut guy, he is more of a data guy, right? And similarly, things like feedback loops, right? Aaron's openness to test, iterate comes to his thought process, right? So he needs more feedback loops. So all these kind of things which are very specific to my relationship with Aaron. So what we are now also doing is that our LLM model on the back, we are fine tuning it by the best therapists and coaches. So not only does it understand your deep context, because now it knows you throughout the day, it also gives you very specific responses with no other platform can give. And funnily it so happens that in India only 5% of the users actually use Chat GPT, because rest 95% of the users actually don't know how to put prompts, right? They don't know how to put scenarios. So for them it became very sticky, because by default, like your personal Jarvis knows everything about you. So yeah, this is the quick demo, and we,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you, Dhananjay. That's absolutely amazing. Guys, if you want to start asking questions, please feel free to raise your hand. And then we can start. Okay, Annapurani, you have raised your hand. Please unmute yourself and go for it.
Thank you, Neha. Are you all able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Just fantastic to be here and great product demo. So thank you for that. I've gone through your website and I have actually a laundry list of questions. Not sure if I have the time, but I'm very intrigued about this product. So I have quite a few questions. Okay. So number one would be something along the lines of like, let's say I wear this product and I attend a one-on-one with my manager. Okay. Or I go into a presentation to present something for a room of people, right? For
Mm,
somebody who has imposter syndrome or somebody who keeps second guessing her work or who's
mm.
not sure about how it's being responded or received to, right? So, how will this product enable me to get better at what I do? Number one. How will it make sure that I'm not overthinking the feedback that I've received or the response in the room is, right? So, how will I make sure that I gauge the response for what it is? That's number two. And number three, how long should I have worn this piece of companion for me to be able to get that level of deep context, right? Because in the first go, when I have my one-on-one, in the first instance when I wear this, I'm not sure if it will be able to get that level of deep or kind of relationship with map or something like that between me and my boss. So how long should I have worn this wearable to be able to get that level of deep context? So these are the first set of questions. I have a few more, but want to give a pause here. So yeah.
Firstly, it's the most amazing question. It's amazing question, right? Because one of the things which has also happened is post-COVID crisis, I was reading this that we have started overthinking. 90% of us do, right? So second guessing has become most of us do second guess, right? So whenever you come on our app, what we do is first thing we do is your user voice fingerprinting. So on the back end, we work on something known as speech prosody. So first thing is it understands your tonality and your keywords. So it also understands what kind of conversations you are having, whether you are stressed out, whether you are going through a normal conversation, whether you are being empathetic or confident, right? So coming to your point, whether you are second guessing. So if you have worn this in a single meeting, second meeting onwards, it basically starts understanding your relationship with your boss. Now generally we as an individuals always second guess, thinking that, say for example, I was speaking with my boss, he pointed out that I wasn't very data oriented. Does this mean this these, right? This is the second guessing part. What you can essentially do is you can type on Neo. It can actually cite those specific instances for which your boss might have told you the data which is required, right? It can be very, very specific, right? So it will always enable you to understand at what point you are double guessing and at what point you are just thinking right, because it now knows everything around you. And the other thing is it can also tell you specific emotions around you. So if you had to say that with my, how could I have told my boss better, right? It will actually cite specific emotions on the basis of the conversation which you have had to tell you that you could have been more confident or more clearer during these specific instances, right? So I hope that answers your first question. Second question is, after first meeting, because it has started understanding how you generally communicate between you and your boss. So then it starts building that specific mind map or knowledge graph about understanding your relationship with your boss. This is on the basis of the fact and entities which has been created, that now it understands that person is your boss, and also the kind of tonality and voice generally you have with your boss, right? This is the second part. I think I am clear. If not, let me know.
Yeah, you are clear. But that brings me to one more question that I want to ask. Like, for instance, when people say, "Oh my God," right?
Hmm.
That can be used both in good sense and in a bad sense. Like when you receive some good news, you also say, "Oh my God." But when you also receive some stressful news, it's also, "Oh my God," right? So when you use a sentiment analysis or something on that around like what emotion I'm going through, how will I make sure that it's sensing it correctly? Like, what do you do to make sure the accuracy is right in that sense?
Exactly. So what we are using is a speech prosody. So you're on the basis of your keyword and your tonalities, right? It can understand when you are saying, "Oh my God," where something has gone haywire, or "Oh my God," where you are something where you are basically excited about things. And this is a very well-known study. So what we did was on our backend, we basically applied speech prosody for all the Indian languages, right? Indian tonality. So it understands that at what point of time, thanks to your voice fingerprinting, when are you shocked while while talking about specific words, and when are you not shocked, right? Because when we were building the product also, we realized that, for example, if you are in Punjab, people generally talk loudly, versus when you are in Kerala, people actually talk more softly, right? So it doesn't mean that people who are talking loudly, they are agitated. No, that's just their way of talking things, right? So figuring out, that's where our fine tuning speech to text models, which have actually helped us. So with the voice fingerprinting, it comes to your fine tuning speech to text model, which actually helps you understand better. So if you had to try out our product, it will also tell you exactly what emotions you have, because of your our fine tuning model and the voice fingerprinting which we have.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. I will now leave room for the others. Sorry to have taken a
No,
lot
no,
of
no.
time.
Thank you, Annapurani. You can definitely, if we have time at the end, you can ask more of your questions, and I'll try to maybe collect people's questions and send it to Dhananjay later if he's open to answering. And next is Guncha. Please feel free to unmute yourself and share your
Sure.
question.
Thanks, Neha. Thank you again for the great demonstration, Dhananjay. I think somewhere, even though we know these concepts now exist, it's different to see it live, even, the small screen share of your app. What I'm wondering is, again, a use case for me is when I'm having this live conversation, as you mentioned, like with my boss or with a co-founder. So, how much of your usage intention is for it to be real time or like near real time? Like at points in the conversation, I go back to the app and I explore it, or it's more like post facto that at the end of a day when I'm planning my next day, I analyze things, or a couple of times a week. So what are the usage you are seeing and what you are intending to target? That's my question.
Yeah, so what we have realized is our power users, right? They actually use it after the conversations. So, for example, if you have had a conversation, if I had my conversation with co-founder of you have spoken to, say, your co-founder, your teammate, people want to quickly understand things like whether they were clear during those meetings, okay, whether they were able to tell those things properly. And then what they do is, for those specific notes also, they mostly end up copy pasting and sharing it across for
Right.
remembering of the other person. So that is the kind of basically usage which we are seeing from power users. The other users are users which are not power users. So in that case, it's similar to any other wearable. So any other wearable also, at the end of the day, people see their metrics as how many calories are burned for that day. And similarly, in our case, what they do is, what were my conversations for today, and what were my key action points for tomorrow. So those are certain queries which they put at the end of the day.
Got it. Thank you, Dhananjay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Guncha. We have Kranti next. Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Thanks, Neha. Thank you, Dhananjay, for the detailed demo. I have questions about the memory creation. You have shown that in the demo that it's able to create the memory right off when you are speaking in this talk. So, where does this memory creation is happening? Is this on device, or it's happening on the cloud and syncing with the phone app, or how is it happening? Yeah.
It's happening on the cloud and then syncing with the phone. So we basically do it similar to what Raven Meta also does. We have our AWS secure cloud where the memory gets created and then syncs to the cloud, syncs to the app.
Okay. A few more questions, follow-up questions based on this thing. So you also mentioned that there is a different knowledge graph being created for different entities or the persons whom we are speaking to. So let's say if there are two people with the same name, how can it actually identify the context? Of course, there is a context as well, but without that, when there is no context, how well it actually starts and then builds this graph. And then a follow-up on that is like, I mean, if a power user, basically if a user wants to understand, okay, this is my current knowledge graph and I would like to tinker with some of these things because I want to change some things in the way the app is talking to me. So is it possible?
Yeah, interesting question. So the first way is looking at basically it understands from the entity. So it will understand that if I am speaking with Kranti at AI Circle, okay, enthusiast, it will understand that as an entity versus say, for example, if I'm meeting Kranti over a job. So that becomes the entity, right? But for example, if there is a scenario that if I'm meeting two Krantis at the same event, right? Then what, like Google Photos, it will take those two Krantis, but the user can then create a differentiator. So for example, if Kranti is tagged just like Google Photos, right? You can now write down this this Kranti is from this company and this Kranti is for this company, those kind of things, just like Google Photos, right? But essentially what we have seen is that if there are two Krantis who are not from the same event, then it can clearly understand on the basis of entities where we met,
Okay.
basically. Huh.
And how about the knowledge graph tinkering?
So knowledge graph tinkering you can completely do. So what we have done is what we are launching in coming 3 weeks is it can change personality on the kind of personality you want, right? So the responses which we are giving, there is a feedback mechanism, feedback loop. And there what you can do is say, for example, give a specific feedback and accordingly it can give response the kind of responses you want. So how the AI adopts is it understands that when an individual, so for example, when I am speaking, it will understand what kind of tonality or what kind of prompting do I prefer and then optimize for it. So for example, if I like say for someone who is more assertive, it will become more assertive if it understands from me, because today if I had to type it what is my MBTI, it completely understands in and out because it has got my complete understanding. So similarly it understands the kind of AI, basically the AI personality which actually makes you to understand things better, right? So it could understand that you prefer someone who is more assertive, you prefer someone who is more calmer, or you prefer someone who is more softer, like those kind of things. So that is something which we have built. Even th- that interestingly we have filed for a patent as well.
Okay. Okay, my question is slightly different, but I think I probably will get back to you after the others ask the questions. But yeah, I think this answers a partly the question. One more last question. You mentioned that voice is the of course, I mean for this product, voice is the main modality. It depends on, but there are definitely lots of relationships we come across each day where the voice is not actually. I mean, it will not really. We don't really communicate so many things using voice. So how do you plan to handle such scenarios, and do you have any plans on how do you want to put that for this product?
So basically, what we believe, majority. So now what we believe is like we move from desktop to laptops to mobile. Next stage is going to be that of personal assistance, right? Because it will understand you better as a person versus to your always listening cell phone, right? So it will always be having that context. But now going forward, we are also going to create integrations, right? Which you correctly said, there could be certain relationship with a person who is with a teammate who is offshore, right? Which you generally like speaking, which you might have spoken over Slack or basically any of those productivity tool. Or there could be certain cases where, for example, you have clicked photos with certain individuals where now it only understand those from those specific photos. So those are certain integrations which we are looking to do, which will give it more context about your relationship, not only vocal, but it will understand through your visual relationships, through those integrations, and also specific relationships which are just digital via texting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kranti. We have Mira next.
Hey Dhananjay, I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you
Hey,
are.
hey, thanks for the really cool demo. That was pretty stunning. So I had something from the technical angle, right? So you talked about the speech to text models, and I can see that there is a really cool LLM which is responding nicely. And also, my first question is, are these also sort of homegrown or like open source, or how are you handling that? Maybe I'll ask the follow-ups after
Let us.
this.
Okay. So basically, we are using open source, which we are fine tuning on our knowledge base.
Mhm.
So speech to text, we are fine tuning to under. So speech to text, we have to fine tune significantly because it needs to understand Indian context switching, right? So that we actually started working on that part, and then simultaneously with LLM models. So this is something which we are training with the therapist and the coaches to give you very specific responses to your specific queries, right? Because we want to go very vertically deep. The emerging use case which we have seen is people have started using it, while recall is one part of things where people can easily visualize meeting note taker, right? People can understand that earlier there used to be fireflies, otters of the world who used to take digital meetings, but now in-person meetings have increased and there is no note taker for that. So that is something which people can visualize. But once they get used to Neo, they get very specific companion queries, which is more around therapy, which is more around self-affirmation, which is similar to what we are seeing people using AstroTalk for, which is what in West we are seeing people using Chat GPT or Characters AI for. So we wanted to go very vertically deep in that, and that's why we are fine-tuning our models to act like your coach and therapist. Because now it has your more of your deep context, more than anyone else.
Got it, got it. And so you're talking about the Indian context and all that. So I'm assuming it is able to support like different accents of English and maybe different languages, right? I'm not sure. Does it
Yeah,
do that?
yeah. So it understand different accents of English. We have also understood. So currently we have Hindi, English, and English as of now. Coming months we are going to launch. Next month we are planning to launch another 5 languages.
Okay, yeah, that is super. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Meera. Dhananjay, your next question came on chat. It is by Vaishnavi, and the question is, what is your target market? What are your current and anticipated challenges with respect to cybersecurity, privacy, and safety? So I knew this question was coming soon about privacy and security. So there you go.
Yeah, so basically, first thing, I wanted to quickly get into the target market. So one of the most stickiest use case for us became traditional entrepreneurs. So these are individuals who are second, third gen entrepreneurs who run few crores to multiple crores of business. So these are basically people who have got their real estate businesses, textile, diamond merchant businesses, right? These are individual run businesses. So now in their case, they have meetings which are 15, 20 meetings, right? Which takes place and they have got their personal assistant, but they don't rely on those personal assistant, right? And that's where for them it became a very sticky use case where they started using it day in and day out. In fact, stunningly, our power users use this for transcribing. Active voice listening is more than 5 hours, which means that this device is on throughout the day, right? For
Wow.
these specific audiences. So yeah, this is our TG, but now we have seen that while this was our TG, the second one was 65 to 70% orders we received from them. The remaining 30% were people like you and me who are busy professionals who realized this, that earlier there used to be otters, fireflies of the world. Now in-person meetings have increased
Yeah,
and there is no platform which can understand bot to give a second brand, right? So
absolutely.
that has become. Now coming to your second point about privacy. So privacy, interestingly, Vinod Khosla had a podcast around it, right? Why people will move completely into AI wearables is because for the first time you are going to control your data. So earlier, if you see that cell phones used to actively listen and sell your data real time, now for the first time you will be able to control your data. So on top of it, obviously in future there are going to be developer platforms where now you can integrate, be a Swiggy or be a Zomato, all those kind of app where it can take decisions on your behalf, but it would be up to you what that data you want to share, how much you want to share. In terms of security, what we are following is we have our data which is encrypted end to end. We have also got ourselves, which we are going to put soon in the website, ISO certified and something known as SOC 2 certified, which is similar to what Meta had done, Ray-Ban Meta glasses. So those are
Yeah.
something we are following very closely to make sure that we are the most secure company, because what we are, we want to be truly global product, and for it to be a truly global product, we need to have standards of security which are much better than anyone else.
Yeah, yeah. Since you brought up the Meta glasses, a quick question here is how do you plan on differentiating yourself from Meta glasses? Now, Google Glasses is launching as well, their own version of it. So, what is your USP compared to them?
Funnily, now Meta also have realized that people who use it for vision, they basically use it only for 3 to 4 hours a day. So now they are also thinking only to launch a voice first smart glass. Okay, but that tech, because we started working so early, we already have iterated to create something very strong. So what we have realized is all these large companies are fighting for memory layer. What essentially memory layer means is that how deep context do they have of their user, and hence ChatGPT is also coming up with exactly the same wearable 1 year down the line, but that is going to have more of a horizontal use case, right?
Okay.
In terms of Meta and Google, one of the learnings which we received, or there have been few papers which have been published, that with vision, people actually use it only for 3 to 4 hours and then they stop it, right? Because you have to actively use vision, right?
Got it. Got it.
Whereas voice, it's always listening, it always understands you.
Okay. So, Vaishnavi has a follow up question. Is it really in our control considering you still host on AWS? And also, who are your other vendors?
Yeah, so other vendors I can't actually tell. I am not allowed to tell. My team will kill me. Okay, but I can quickly tell you that we first thing is we have encrypted data. We have also getting SOC 2 certified, which we wanted to be very particular that no one outside or inside the team can also actually understand the data. Right. So that is something which we have done in-house completely with one of the best known agencies in the US known as, okay, I can tell you also Strops, which is one of the biggest vendor who is known to understand for privacy. They do multiple tests in the 3 to 6 months period, right? To understand that no one can ever be able to access your data. So this is something
Okay.
which we are doing apart from basically encrypting the data itself and hosting
Okay. Okay.
it in US secure cloud.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dhananjay. I'm going to let Shanali ask her question now.
Hi, Dhananjay. Amazing presentation. Really interesting on, like how AI has changed and what, wearables we can we can wear in today's day and age. Um, Funny enough, my question is very different. It's not what normal questions you've gotten right now. Since I'm in the alternative healing space, I was just wondering if you have any thoughts on how your product could affect the chakras or the energies of the body.
Coincidentally, I am big time into meditations.
Okay.
I have always been into meditation, almost now good 10 to 12 years.
Wow, that's great.
Okay, so what we have realized is the effect of mobile. Why I also wanted to build is that we always have been having wearables to take care of your physical fitness, but there is nothing about your conversational or mental fitness.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, talking about very specific alternative healing, right? For one of the biggest impact ever is your information overload. So, when even I used to meditate, if I am away from my screen for 2 days, I will feel much better at meditating. And if you may, opening your focusing on your specific chakras also, right?
Yeah,
Because you are not overloaded with those information. And
yeah,
that is also one of the longer vision that we want to move people away from screen to provide them with true human independence. So if I'm today speaking to Sonali, I shouldn't be taking my cell phone. Okay. It should just understand and keep it over there, and I can ask it whenever I want to do it. Right. Because if you look at humans, right, essentially, staggeringly, the data says that 75% of world information was created in the last 5 years alone. Right. Prior to this, we as in humans were more social human beings. Hence, we had more friends. Right. And that is something which is reducing significantly. Hence, 90% of people are lonely right now. Right. What we believe is that once people, for people to be truly, and this is what my thought process is, to be truly happy, to be truly connected, they need to be more in community, in person, meeting each other, right? Not to be in a screen. Earlier entertainment used to be physical entertainments, right? You used to meet out, you used to play. Now people don't do it, right? So this is what I see, that this can actually provide true human independence, where it can help you be an enabler to live a better life and be a best version of yourself.
Okay. And just a follow-up question, because I don't know, your system will have like EMF radiation, like because you're wearing it constantly over your heart chakra. How, like, what is the effect? Have you all, done any research with that, or if you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, we have done research. Basically, Bluetooth has zero. So basically, the only thing which we have is Bluetooth in it, right? Which connects to, and Bluetooth actually, we did deep research there also. It doesn't have any study. So why there were few study which came with cell phones was because Bluetooth. It used to say that while sleeping, it if you keep your cell phone, then it gives you a heavy head. But when we deep dived into it, it was because of people. If you see that specific cohort, those were the individuals who used to see screen time before sleeping. So Bluetooth it does as such doesn't have any correlation. So
Okay.
so that's why we believed, we actually did. And this was initially, lots of people asked this question, and one of our advisors is also a doctor, well known.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
so that's how we went about it.
Great. Thank you so much, Dhananjay.
Thank you, Shnali, for an interesting question. We have Mira next.
Yeah, it's me again. So I was curious, how you went from like zero, like from scratch, right? So how did you basically iterate before, say, finalizing this sort of form factor? So if see, like a lot of software people like me, we can easily iterate, right? Just spin up a cluster,
Hmm.
try it out. If nothing works, okay, that's fine. I'll ditch this. It's very easy to do iterations on software. So I'm curious how you about your process when you had to deal with this hardware form factor. Uh,
Building hardware in India is the most difficult thing ever, because majority of the products are either white labeled or copied. You always had rings, smart glasses, mattresses, right? In our case, we had a challenge because no one believed us when we were building that. How could two guys from India build something futuristic? So what we started doing was, first thing is, one thing the mission was clear, was to index voice. To under indexing voice will help you understand better. Then came, what are those form factors which can understand you in terms of your vocal cord, in terms of your voice, right? So one was glasses, another one was neckwear, because it's closer to your vocal cords, right? So then we went about understanding that which of these form factors would actually make more sense. With smart glasses, two things was that, one is people who don't wear glasses, they don't like wearing glasses at all. Second is people who wear glasses, they also remove it multiple times. Third thing which became was that smart glasses as such as a category has a bloodbath. There are too many people in smart glasses, in glasses as a category, right? Lots of players. Here, when we came with neckwear, was people once they wear it, they forget it. It's always listening. So that is how we came about form factor, right? And it took us 5 iteration. Unlike when I talk to other hardware friends, or basically people who have built ultra human lunar ring, right? They always knew that what they were trying to build, so they had to do only 2 iterations and get done. In our case, me and Aryan basically started building everything from scrap. So it would be funny to tell you that our second iteration basically had a speaker over here. So now not only can you type, You can ask it questions like, hey, I have a workout session, what should I do? It will basically speak back. I used to find it very cool like a Jarvis, but I realized people used to find it creepy. So then we had to test out another form factor, which was directly connected to your app. So we have gone through four different form factors finally to arrive at this. And hardware is a huge iterative process. So there is a very interesting book known as Tony Pedel, who wrote Build, who also was the guy who built iPhone. Any hardware product takes between 18 to 24 hours with 24/7 research to come out, right? So it requires that much of iteration.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. That's really interesting. I was actually, one of my questions was that is your pendant the only form, or are you considering like a clip that you can wear on the collar, or something like that? Different jewelry styles, so to speak, to try and hit a larger target market.
Yeah, so we are going to launch different SKUs. This was just our starting point. Now people know who NeoSapien as a company is. So
Yeah.
we are going to go launch multiple SKUs because now we have started getting a lot of user feedback, right? There are different individuals which will try to use different kind of SKUs, right? Form factors.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's accordingly we are going to evolve. The good part is that we are essentially a cutting edge tech company which can evolve with what you are what you are wearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Your volume has gone a little low.
There, unfortunately, my house is very near to airport, so flight was.
Oh wow. Okay, no problem, no problem. I have a question from Neeta through the chat. Her question is: have you observed any difference in how women and men interact with your product?
Yes, so initially our users were majorly men, and this is what we saw in any wearables, right? I just the data of Ultrahuman also they had 80% men and 20% women. But in our case, that became different. In our case, it was nudging to around 70/30, which is now increasing to 35/65, because emotional intelligence angle for women is very critical. What we realized, how they use chat GPT, right? They use more, and this is talks which I did with because when we were doing our own research, also we realized that women generally use it more like a companion, like a confidant, asking it lots of questions, right? Like, have I double thought about these things? Have I been overthinking about these things, right?
Yeah.
When they realize this can give you this power, they basically started using it more and more. And that from being a 70/30 is now shifting to a 65/35 and moving further towards being somewhere closer.
That's awesome to hear. I'm really happy to hear that. So I'm gonna get Guncha and Richa, Guncha first, then Richa to ask their questions, and then I'll open it up for you to ask us some questions because we have 10 minutes left. So Guncha, do you want to go for it?
Sure, Neha. So then there's just a couple of follow-up questions on points you mentioned. So on the form factor, little more obvious question about, does it have to be outside the clothing like what you're wearing right now, or can I tuck it inside the t-shirt and still wear it? So that's one. And the second question was, because you mentioned the pro users around women. So are you also seeing that this is concentrated in an age of both genders or all the genders? And also if you are seeing usage by lay people, or these are all tech focused people already, or they are outliers? So what are your current user base? That's it.
So, yeah, so the first one is yes, you can keep it within your shirt, but we wanted to make sure that people use it outside shirts,
Of
like
course.
meta glasses, because then they can see this trust light, right, which we have over here. So it
Right.
enables people to understand that it's actively listening. And this is an ethical question which we did to ourselves also, right? So hence we want people to wear it outside. Second question was coming to your point of
Sorry to interrupt you, but I mean the question still remains whether it still works if it's
it works
inside clothing. Yeah.
inside, but range will reduce. So just giving you an example that
Right.
outside, because the barrier is lesser, it can go up to 5 meters. Inside, it can go up to 2 meters, 2 to 3 meters.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And coming to your, sorry, your second question was, apologies.
So that's okay. It was more around like you talk about the gender mix,
Correct.
but are you also, can you talk about the age and the layperson mix versus like this? We are a group of AI or tech enthusiasts already, but what about lay people?
Yeah, so interestingly, right? First of all, our age group is around 28 years to 44-year-old is what we have seen. Second part, coming to your point, funnily, it was started using not by tech people, which are your traditional entrepreneurs, right? Which are not exactly techies. These individuals, while they like using new tech, but they are not techies. So we first, when we were launching, we thought that early adopters, which are your techies, will be the highest in terms of ordering the product, but it was completely opposite. While they were second highest, but the first highest was the normal lay people who are like traditional entrepreneurs who don't have time to actually put a prompt on chat GPT, all these specific LLM model to get responses. So those became our biggest audience actually.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guncha. Richa, ask your question, and then Dhananjay, I'll open it up for you to ask us questions.
Hi, Dhananjay. In fact, my question was very similar to what Guncha had asked because even at a workplace, you have a slight personal relationship. So I was wondering if, wearing it and, the person in front of you will always might be uncomfortable talking to you, you know,
Hmm.
since there is somebody, they know that there's an active listener around.
Hmm.
So, have you pondered over whether it will affect interpersonal relationship in any format? I mean, in your family or friends or at workplace.
So there are two things, right? First is people who have not used it will go through an adoption curve, which is similar to iPhone, right? It is quite interesting that BlackBerry before that did not have cameras, right? So when iPhone came with camera, people wouldn't allow people within offices, you weren't allowed to take camera phones, right? So it required your adoption curve till the time people realize that this is helping them being more efficient as an individual. So this is something which adoption curve will take place like for any any basically path breaking product, right? So this is what I feel. Second, coming to your point, right? Once people start using it, they become so sticky that while earlier even we were thinking that this will be big for professional use cases, but today power users use it more for personal use cases. Things like how, because for them those five individuals matter a lot, right? Your boyfriend, your partner, your kids, all those kind, and they want to have the best possible relationship. Because it so happens right now we are so much into work through our digital and physical life that those important relationships fall through creaks. So one of the guys actually told me this, that he is a founding team member of an insurance tech company. He told me that I work my ass off in throughout the day and then miss out most of the things my kid tells me. And this helps me a lot to just be a better parent, right? So all those kind of things.
Okay, it's a little difficult to imagine a world with it, but thank you.
Thanks, Richa.
Um, Thanks, Richa. Dhananjay, do you have any questions for us? Because we have 5 minutes left. So, in case you have questions while everyone's here.
Yeah, so I had basically one very actually two questions. Okay, I just wanted to understand your feedback of the form factor in terms of, because while we are seeing that 65% is men and 35% is women, if this product actually helps you, are you aligned to this form factor, or do you believe there could be a different form factor for women? First question was that. Second question was that, for example, one of the things which we have now been working on is the emotional intelligence part, right? Which is something which we have seen also women generally do more or prompting around emotional intelligence part. So is this something which would interest you all, as in terms of basically trying to explore and understand, right? That whether there
Okay.
was you to be better. Yeah.
Okay, so I have Guncha to answer your question. Guncha, go for it. And anyone wants to answer Dhananjay's question, please raise your hand and I'll go through the list. Guncha, you're first.
Sure. So, Dhananjay, a couple of points I noted already when you were presenting and we spoke about emotional intelligence. I think you said that, women started using the product or reaching out more because they already understand the importance of it. I have a contrarian view also. So while I agree with you and you will continue to see usage from all of us, uh, I believe that there is a gap that we are seeing now as women where men are not as finding it difficult to cope with emotional intelligence requirements, or where they're struggling to hold on to how much energy or time is required towards that, and the demand is not the same as previous generations. So I think your tool could be a great way for men to sort of have their own coach and not overburden the women around them in the emotional support. So this is something that I've been reading about. I'm sure you know articles around it as well. So I found that as an interesting use case. And I asked a question about, within clothing, etc., because you also have that trust, right? But like how you're wearing it right now, the placement for women may attract attention towards certain body parts or certain zones, which we may not be comfortable with. So then a sort of optionality of the pendant length, like it's very normal for a necklace to have options of how long your length should be. So maybe something like that is a small answer towards your form factor question.
Interesting. So one of the women who is also a designer, so she is also helping us. So
I'm also a designer.
yeah, so she is basically helping us with these strings, right? Because we can play around a lot with these strings,
Right.
right? So yeah. Hmm.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Guncha. Just while other people are kicking in, I thought Dhananjay, just to add to that, that I do agree with what Guncha is saying. Also, to add to the form factor, I think women are more concerned about the kind of jewelry and accessories we use on our clothes, and maybe the pendant will not suit what we're wearing, etc. Which is why I asked if you would, if you are looking at making different forms, maybe as a pin on your collar or something like that. Although I do understand it's tough to get multiple forms. I don't know if like a wristband, like a watch, something slim would work, to sort of add to it. But definitely, I think having multiple options will be nice. And to add to your what things that I would like to see is, for example, like, if women are going through menopause or perimenopause, something like Chat GPT does not help you through that process. It does not help you understand whether your reaction was hormonal or was it something you were going through, because ChatGPT doesn't have what my life looks like, right? It's what I enter it. So this device would be very interesting to take you through the process of menopause. In some places, some people even ask me about postpartum, like, can it guide me through postpartum after delivery? Can it guide me through my pregnancy? So those might be interesting things for you to consider as well, if it can guide you through that process.
That is very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Richa, you wanted to answer, contribute to his question?
In fact, yeah, hi. A part of my question was asked by Shonali, but what I would also want you to, highlight about is, see, there's so many heart attacks happening these days. So the placement of the pendant is such that, those can that concern can be there, and with the vibrations or something like that, so you will have to address that. You'll have to convince people that your product is not going to give them such experiences.
Interestingly, what we are doing over there is, first of all, it doesn't do anything of that sort, but what we are also doing, we are integrating with wearables. Okay, so first stage is that. So now when you are even stressed out, when it understands that your heartbeat has increased significantly, it's like your companion, it will give you an alert.
Okay.
Then the next phase is, because it's near your heart, right? We are
Huh.
also doing an R&D that it can understand when your heartbeat is gone insanely high. So imagine a
Yeah.
scenario where this is a product which is sitting over there and can tell you that now this is that alert. Okay, when
Okay.
you need to do something around it. So this is how we are looking. This gives us actually an advantage around it.
Yeah, because nowadays people are struggling with a lot of anxiety issues, panic attacks.
Exactly.
So if there's a product that can help them with it, it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, it would be quite cool if the pendant can ping you that, okay, you're going to have a panic attack, and like calm you
Ye-
down somehow.
Yeah.
That is what
uh,
we are trying to do with Trifecta. So with your wearables and basically with
okay.
your conversational, we are creating a trifecta which can understand when are you having a panic attack.
Oh, wow, wow. I
Oh,
think
wow.
more
That's
about when,
amazing.
it's about how to handle it after that, like how can I get past my panic attack? So because we are at 12 right now, so I'm going to take a few more questions, a few more responses to
I
your
just wanted to
questions.
add one more thing to this, if I can.
Go for it, Richa.
Uh, um, Ajay, tell me one thing. I missed a couple of minutes in the start. So, will it also talk to you? I mean, or is it only going to type?
So
How will you?
currently,
How will it?
currently, yeah, currently is chat, and then within the app we are launching a voice functionality. So right, like voice note, it can also revert back to you. So Neo can revert back to you via voice.
Uh-huh. Otherwise, it could, guide you through a meditation or something
Hmm.
Yeah,
in such a situation. Thank you.
great.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Shreya, would you like to answer Dhananjay's questions? Okay, I think Shreya has gone.
Sorry.
Shanali, would. Oh,
Hello.
sorry, Shreya, you're here.
Yeah.
Hi.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. So I'd like to extend the point that Neha you made, that not just menopausal or perimenopausal, even the monthly menstrual cycles, every woman experiences a different symptom, and they go through different emotions, physically, mentally, hormonally. Their body reacts differently during those days, before, after. And of late there have been studies which say you should plan your monthly productivity around those days. And it would be great if something like this can actually tell us that yes, today is when you're entering this particular phase. And it will be great if you can plan your most busy days in this week. And then the next week it could, you can take it a bit slower, because you'd be going through certain emotions, and you may not be able to do justice to the work that you're doing. So with age, with every physical change that a woman's body goes through, even that time of the month, the way they experience it changes. So that personalized um, the personalized monthly plan would help, is what I feel.
This is amazing feedback. Amazing feedback. I am already taking notes.
Yeah, I think this is a very important point for all of us, and it reminds me a bit of there's this AI app called Clue, CLUE, which is actually for women, and it gives you feedback like that. That hey, you're gonna have a tough day today, or this is a great day for productivity. But unfortunately, you have to constantly enter your mood every day and keep
Exactly.
track of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are
that's what
apps which help, but you have to keep monitoring them. You have to keep
exactly.
looking them up.
And the thing is, the one day you forget to log your mood or log your symptoms, then the whole model has gone haywire. It hasn't learned anything. So, okay, a few more responses. Dhananjay, are you good to go for a couple of more minutes?
Yeah. I can do.
Yeah. Okay. Shanali, would you like to share your feedback with Dhananjay?
Hi, Dhananjay. So, just a quick thought. So I use this app called HeartMath. I don't know if you've heard of them. They are basically heart-centered breathing. So maybe if you can research and partner with them to put it on your device or something, because that's really helped a lot of anxiety patients and stuff, where it just regulates how you breathe, and it gives you like a pattern for breathing, slow breathing and heart centered breathing.
Got it. I have just put it down. I have opened both Clue and Heart Met.
Yeah, heart mat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Shanali. Guncha, Would you like to respond?
I think Richa had something. Yeah. So for me, Dhananjay, I also wanted to call out that are you also including in the app something like a ongoing conversation, or what I see in like my Gemini Pro right now, I can create some gems which are purposeful, and then the same conversation I can tag to that part. And so, it holds all my interactions and instructions, and then there's a more specialized answer that I get.
So
And
basically,
that you're exploring.
that we are exploring, and I understand what you mean, because we have also seen gems, right, which you are talking. So that is something in our roadmap. Currently, it's basically understanding from your ground truth, and the responses which you get through Ask Neo, you can just upvote it and downvote it and give a feedback. So it adopts to your responses. But coming to joining those specific gems which you want to join in specific meetings or conversation, that we are working on.
Got it.
Great, thank you. Richa, I think you're going to be last here because, we should start wrapping up soon. So would you like to share your feedback and then we can wrap it up?
Yeah, I just have a suggestion. You can consider looking, studying biorhythm and bio waves also. It will help you with tracking human smooth cycle.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have some feedback from Vaishnavi in the chat where she has said that why do we even need gender in the picture? Will it not give outputs assistance based on already existing bias in the system?
It does. It does. What I meant was understanding a specific form factor and basically certain specifics which we can accordingly incorporate in our product also, which was a very relevant question, responses which Neha you pointed out, and overall what we want to do is, while we it's not gender specific, it will always give you responses as it is, right, what it is seeing to understand from you. Yeah. So
Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for going over time with us as well, Dhananjay, and for everyone who's logged in on a weekend. Dhananjay, thank you for taking out time on your Saturday as well, for talking to us, listening to us. And I hope this has been useful for you and everyone else. And if we have anything follow up, if you need any follow up from us later, please definitely do get in touch. And thank you for the amazing demo. I'm very intrigued, and I do want to try it out now. See what the project